And on that bombshell, welcome to Brum is Blue, the dedicated Birmingham City Women's Football Club podcast. Coming up on this week's show, we discuss the second City derby, our win over Coventry United, and our draw against Reading, and much, much more.
Birmingham City have taken the lead. A lovely free kick found the head of the Birmingham City captain.
It's a dangerous ball, it's a looping header, and it's a goal against the run of play for Birmingham City. Abby Grant.
It's a lovely finish into the top corner. Guided in by Lucy Whip. Just gently lofted out of the reach of the keeper. Might be another chance for another goal. Cracking save by Hampton.
Welcome everybody once again. If you're new to the show, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. And if you prefer the audio only version, you can find the show on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you can find your podcasts as well. I'm Craig and I'm joined as always by Kaz and Stacey. We begin this week's show by looking at tonight's game, the second City derby. We're recording literally minutes, and I mean literally minutes after the final whistle. So our takes will be the hottest they possibly could be. To start it off, Chloe Arthur had a great chance for Villa early on, but she put it wide. I think she still likes us after that one. Birmingham City then took a long time to get going in this game, and the score remained 0-0 for the opening 28 minutes or so before Ruisha Littlejohn went off the field, left the field with an injury, which she replaced by Lucy Whip. But after that, there was a breakaway from one of our corners. Shania Hales, a former Blues player herself, plays it down the right-hand side, crosses it to Freya Gregory, another youngster from our team who's gone to Villa. She hits the bar with a great strike, and then on the rebound, she fires it into the net, 1-0. At this point, Kaz, it was a moment where we thought the worst was going to happen. Obviously, we can talk about what happens later in the game, but at this point of the match, we were looking very shaky.
Oh, mate, up until I think about the 70th minute, we didn't even turn up. I was saying to Stace, it was, or it still is, one of the worst performances I've seen from Blues this season. And that's even going down to Chelsea and getting battered 6-0. It was a horrible game to watch. Obviously, there was so much pressure on the girls, and I think everybody was feeling it tonight, even on social media with the fans. And yeah,
absolutely. Emily Murphy then comes on at half-time for Jamie Lee Napier. Sarri replaces Emma Kelly later in the second half, who was on a yellow card. Better from Blues in the second half, Stacey, but that's quite a low bar if we're brutally honest. We couldn't string two passes together, and we didn't really have a single shot on target until the injury time.
Yeah, I think we was awful first half and we were bad second half. So yeah, slightly better, but still bad. I felt like we didn't get going until it was announced that there was 6 minutes added on. If we'd played like that in the 6 minutes in the 90, I think we would have walked all over them. But I've got no excuses. I normally try and pick the positives out of the game, but we celebrated that goal as though we'd just won the cup.
Champions League.
You know what I mean? It was that important of a point for us, I think.
There's obviously other things we can talk about the game. We can go back to them anyway, but we'll talk about the goal as you brought it up. In the last minute, I think it was the last minute of time, the last minute of injury time, at 6 minutes of injury time, Sarri from the right-hand side of the pitch, left-footed, it was left-footed, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think it was. I can't remember much of it.
It was a free. Yeah. I know it feels like a bit of a blur. We absolutely robbed this point from Villa. If we're completely honest, absolutely.
Oh.
I think it was a left-footed shot from the right-hand side. Curls, beats everyone in the box and straight into the back of the net. Cue the absolute scenes on the pitch, absolute scenes in everyone's living rooms who was a Birmingham City fan. Dread on the faces of Villa fans at their home pitches. It was absolute, as Simon in the chat puts, absolute class goal. It absolutely was. She's a player we haven't got to see much of because of injury, but she's come in and she had an absolutely brilliant debut. We'll come on to that later in the episode. And today she comes on and gets the winning goal. Stacey, she can't do much more than that, can she?
Was that to me? Sorry, my phone went off and I went on zoned out.
I wasn't sure which one of you had the phone going off, but I'll repeat what I said, Stacey. Obviously, Beatrice, sorry, she couldn't have done more in her first 2 matches for Birmingham City.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really watch the Coventry game.
Because obviously Blues men were on TV, so...
Yeah, so I only really see in the highlights, which obviously weren't very big. But no, I thought she's done really well. I remember when she played for Sheffield, and I think me and Kaz, when we played Sheffield, was like, oh, she seems all right. But yeah, it's a shame that we're only just starting to see what she might be capable of at the back end of the season. So, but yeah, no, she seems quite promising, and she'll be a hero forever, like for the next 6 weeks anyway, or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Claudia Walker with a great goal at Villa Park in the other fixture this tie earlier this season, and now Beatrice Sarri with just as important one in the return fixture. So credit to her. Just talking about other things that happened in this game. Obviously, there wasn't that many chances for either team in this match. It was a very poor game, to be honest, overall. But Marcus Bignot on the touchline, returning to his former hunting ground, prowling the technical area. Well, I say technical area because he never actually stood in the technical area for the whole game. I believe Carla Ward had a go at the official for how close he was getting to the touchline with the players when they were taking a throw in, but then she got booked for it. But it just seems like he would go about his merry business for this match, Kaz. What did you make of it? He was obviously
do you know
completely overstepping the boundary.
Definitely, but do you know what? I would have loved to have seen that smug smile get wiped off when that goal went in. I wish the camera would have just panned to him just to see his reaction, because I think it would have made the whole night even better. And as for the yellow card for Carla, I think it was Carla having a go at the lines, the ref, about how far they were taking their throw-ins as well, because obviously Jodie Hutton was taking the pee a little bit. But yeah, it's. I think he was reffing the game as well, more than what the referee was. Like, he never shut up, did he? It was like, turn the mic off. I don't want to hear him.
Yeah, you know he's there. You can never miss him in a game when any team's playing Marcus Bignot's a team in football. But Stacey, in terms of the referee, she didn't have a good game. I thought that Villa could have got a penalty in, I think it was the second half. A player left the foot out and she went down. She didn't have the best of games, and we perhaps got away with one here. Well, we definitely did in terms of the scoreline, but overall the referee didn't have a good game, did she?
No, no. It does feel like it's just a constantly bashing our heads against the brick wall, talking about officials in the league. And as Kaz said, Marcus ref the game today. Like, if he shouted loud enough, she'd blow up. And it proved that with how late some of the whistles was, and how late some of the decisions were, and how bonkers they were at times. It's like, it was... at one point, she completely lost control of the game. What was going on with Bexy's knee? Like, it just... I think even Marcus at one point went, what's going on? Like, it was just that much of a kerfuffle. Like, it was a kerfuffle. I like that word. But yeah, you know, it was just... She was horrendous. We were bad. She was bad. Villa weren't great.
And it's a good job this wasn't on Sky Sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. That moment with Bex, I didn't even write that down because it was so farcical of what was happening. I think there was a bit of blood on her knee. Then they made her go off, put something on the knee. Then she came back on the pitch when she wasn't probably supposed to come back on the pitch. But then she was like, "I'm on now. Why can't I stay on the pitch?" So she took her off the pitch. It's not one that's going to make the highlights, so I don't think we need to worry about talking about it too much. But yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah. In terms of the game, though, we weren't as disciplined as we were at the start of the season. It seems like we lost that we were a team which was so solid at the back. So there was no one going to break us down. We were controlled in what we were doing, and we just visibly showed the pressure tonight, I think. And you could see that with the cheap yellow cards for kicking the ball away, Sarah Mailing and Emma Kelly earlier on. Players getting in each other's way when we were trying to get shots on the edge of the area. It just didn't seem to click, Kaz. And we mentioned that we're lucky, but it just, what do you think went wrong? Do you think it's the pressure?
I think it was the pressure. Like, obviously, it's a big game to start with, isn't it? It's against Aston Villa. But let's be honest. I think whoever got the points tonight, 3 points is safe. So, yeah. What were we talking about? Sorry.
You caught me looking at my other screen when I was trying to get the next bit up. But we were talking about Kaz that we were.
Yes, that's it. So obviously, I'll get it now, right? So sorry, my head's all over the place. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I'm not used to this. So right. So one, I think the disciplinary in the defence section you've got to look at. We've taken Rachel Corsie out, and I know Ruby Mace is a cracking little player, but she ain't no Rachel Corsie. We haven't replaced Rachel Corsie. I don't think we ever will. Like, probably one of the best players I've seen in a blue shirt. And it's a shame that none of us got to actually watch her play in a blue shirt. But I think a lot of players didn't show up today either. I'm just rattling on now. Like, I couldn't even remember anything that Sarah Malin did.
She took some of the set pieces. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, she took a couple of corners. But like I said, Sarah's still on the pitch. They were putting at least 4 players on Claudia.
Yeah, so, she was well marshalled for that game. Yeah,
I think Claudia was very isolated today with help. I thought Harriet did a fantastic job, bearing in mind she had exams this morning. So I just, you know what? Who cares at the end of the day?
Yeah,
we stopped the scum getting 3 points. They'll probably, hopefully, get relegated if Bristol can do us a favour, and we'll all be laughing then, won't we?
Your words, not mine, Kaz. I think in the fan chat, I put when the goal went in, someone put we've played terribly. I went, I don't care. We got the point. It doesn't matter now. The game's over. It doesn't. We could as long as we get the point. It doesn't matter how bad we played, and that's the reality of it, isn't it? But
it's like I put on Natalie put something on Twitter, the Man United fan, and I've just said I've lost all hope now. For the first time this season, a little bit of me just thought that was it. We were down, and then yeah.
Yeah, because we were looking at the prospect of playing Manchester City next, which we won't get anything from realistically. And then on the final day, we've got to play Tottenham Hotspur, who have Becky Spencer, a former Birmingham City player who got the FA Cup. You've got Keris Harrop, the former captain of Birmingham City. You've got Rachel Williams, one of our best strikers that we've ever had in the team. All possibly going to send. Yeah, Chloe Peplow as well. You've got
Quinn.
Lucy Quinn as well, who scored that great goal against Man City for us. Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's like an Ellen White for Man City.
Yeah.
So you could potentially have a home ex-Birmingham team ready to go. So at least
the prospect of having to go to Tottenham and getting something with the pressure on us, and then Bristol City could get something at Brighton. It's not out of the realm of the possibility. But now the point leaves us relatively in a good position. We're on 15 points now. Bristol City are on 12. Bristol City have a game against Manchester United next, and then they've got to play Brighton on the final day. If they get 3 points out of those 2 games, they would be on 15 points, but the goal difference is likely to keep us up. So realistically, as long as they don't get anything from the Man United game, we're safe. So it was a massive point for us, and it's obviously going to change a lot of opinions of people not of the game, because the game was terrible. We know that, but the opinions, the mood of the room is different now that we got a point today, which is all that we needed now. So forget about the terrible performance. Hopefully we play better in the next 2 games, but it's gone now. So and Nick put this message on. I think you need to change the description. I changed the description about 3 times during that game. I changed the thumbnail picture for this game 3 times because I put room for improvement after it looked like we were going to lose this one, and then I put the new name for this episode is "Sorry It Took So Long, Folks." It's a nice play on words. I'm not just a pretty face. We're moving on though to a bit of news from this past week. Unfortunately, it's a bit of sad news, I suppose. Before we look at the game against Coventry United and Reading, let's talk about the departure of Chloe McCarron. She made history with Northern Ireland earlier this month as they qualified for their first major international tournament. But football isn't everything for a lot of players, and we should remember that. Chloe has left the club by mutual consent, despite having another year left on her contract. The reason cited was family related. And given everything that's going on right now, I can understand that. You've moved abroad to play at the highest level you've ever played at, separated from your family and close friends. In a normal season, you have the chance to fly back and forth to see family, but with the pandemic, it's just not that easy. Chloe made 12 appearances for the Blues this season, but averaged just 40 minutes per game during her time with the club. Kaz, you're someone who's moved around in the past across the UK. Can you relate to what Chloe must have felt not being able to see her family on a regular basis?
Oh God, yeah. Like Stace will tell you, like, especially now with the pandemic that's going on, it's extremely hard. Like, I can't even remember the last time I went up to see me family. Do you know what I mean? So I can see where she's coming from, because if I could move back home, even if it was for like a week, I would, because you know what I mean. It's family, but yeah, I'm with Chloe on that one. It's extremely hard, whether it is because of that reason or if she just didn't get on with the football over here or what. But I think it's extremely hard moving from, like, she's had to move from a different country. Never mind, I've just had to move 5 hours down the road. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
absolutely.
It's extremely hard.
Absolutely, it's not like you can just drive down the road when you want to go see them. You have to take a flight. You have to get a boat. One of the two to do it. It's a lot harder. Obviously, when I went to university going to Wales, it was different, obviously, but then it's more opened up. It wasn't like this pandemic. You can't just go home on the train. It's not that easy, and it is a tough one for her to have to deal with at the moment. And Stacey, we mentioned in the last episode that we didn't think we saw the best of her at Blues. What do you think is next for a return to the Northern Irish top flights with a view to a move abroad once she's ready again, do you think?
Yeah, obviously we don't know where her head's at with football in general. But I'm assuming if she wants to carry on with the football, then yeah, she'll head back to where she came from before. So obviously I just wish her all the best in the future. Like, you know what I mean? As you said, I don't think we saw the best of her, but it is what it is, ain't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, we wish her the best in the future, and maybe one day she'll return to the club when she's a bit older. Our next game then is the win over Coventry United in the FA Cup. It's been a bit since this game, but it was nice to see Blues pile in the goals for the first time since the Bristol game back in October. Birmingham City ran out 5-1 winners, with Claudia Walker and Sarah Mayling both scoring twice, and Emily Murphy also on the score sheet. In many ways, it was a routine win, Stacey, but most of the goals came in the last 25 minutes or so. Does that show the superior fitness of a WSL side?
Oh, yeah, obviously. If you look at past games and not just about with us, 99.9% of the time, the last 20 minutes are goal fests. It's not just straight away. We're full-time professionals there, semi-professional, so it should be evident. Obviously, it was. As I said, I didn't watch the game. I literally saw the goals because that was about as much as highlights as we was given. But yeah, no, it was nice to see a few people getting on the score sheet, and yeah.
Yeah, we saw a lot of good things from the Blues that weekend. Claudia back in the goals, Sarah getting her first goals in a long time, and a couple of long overdue debuts. Heidi Logan is the first. She had a terrible injury issues since getting her first pro deal with the club. A win is great, Kaz, but seeing a player who's come through the academy making her debut is an even better feeling.
Oh, definitely. Like, we've seen like a few academy players come through. Like, I can't wait to see Lily Simpkin back. Like, I'm expecting extremely big things from her when she comes back, obviously, with the season that she had.
No,
but what?
She said no pressure, but she set the standards herself by playing so well last season.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Shut up and carry on watching the football, I'm assuming, right? So seeing Heidi come back, it was fantastic, and like I would prefer it if like we could play a whole bunch of kids, because we know we've got them in the team, but I don't know where she is at the minute. I don't know if has she got picked up another injury, or nothing's been said over the last
No, I don't think anyone said anything, no.
So I don't know whether she was just getting a couple of minutes just to see if her knee would react, because I think she did an ACL, didn't she? So, yeah, it was really nice to see Heidi back on the pitch, and hopefully next season she's fully fit and she can prove to people what she can do.
Yeah, I think she hasn't really got given the chances that she needs to show what she can do. So hopefully next season she can do that. A few changes from the usual starting 11 in that game. We saw Sophie Whitehouse getting her first starting goal and Beatrice Sarri starting in an attacking position. Sophie had a decent game, possibly could have done better for Coventry's goal, but Georgia Stevens' strike was sublime, so maybe not. But Beatrice's performance, Stacey, she was on it from the kickoff, striking the bar, and looks to be a hell of a signing for us. Obviously, you didn't see the game, so I can't really point that out. But from my point of view, she had a really good game, and again, she's
from what I've seen of some people, what they said, it sounded like she had a good game, and obviously the tiny little highlights that I see, she seemed all right. So yeah,
I think there's more to come, and the much needed win against Coventry set us up nicely for our next game, which was also at home, this time to Reading. We were looking for our first home league win of the season, and it looked to be going that way when Ruby May smashed home the opener after just 7 minutes. Sarah Mailing's corner kick caused all sorts of trouble in the box, and Ruby takes full advantage to power the ball over the line. Her second goal for the Blues, Kaz, she played in central midfield at the weekend and looked visibly freer as a result of it. Do you think that's her best position?
Oh, definitely. Like, I think she was a bit lost today in the first half, because I think the occasion might have got to her. She's 17-year-old. Do you know what I mean? But I thought it was the best game in a blue shirt. But yeah, I still think that goal was Sarah's. Personally.
I think it's up to the officials to give it, isn't it? So yeah.
So
she would though. That she wants more goals. She scored 2 the day before.
But yeah, I thought it was Sarah's all day long. So
when I first saw it, I thought it had crossed the line, but they obviously hadn't given it. So it's one of those, isn't it?
Goal line technology. Yeah. Never mind VAR. We need goal line technology.
Yeah, that is something that they're bringing in VAR for the Champions League from the knockout stages next season, even though goal line technology isn't available yet. So, it as you say, Kaz, it's a weird one.
Definitely, it's women's football for you, mate.
Always backwards. Reading enjoyed most of the ball throughout this match, but it seemed we had the better of the chances for the majority of the game. Claudia had a half volley tipped over, and Ruisha Littlejohn, who went off injured today, sadly, was denied by a mixture of defender and keeper on the goal line, which was a really good chance for us. We paid really for not making the most of those chances, though, as Rachel Rowe equalised for Reading in the 64th minute. A bit like our goal, really. A defending side failing to clear a corner, and it drops to Rowe, who fires home. A game we could have won, Stacey, but a draw seems fair on the results on the whole.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed to only get the draw. I think we had enough opportunities probably to put the game to bed. And as you said, we didn't take them chances, and we played. It was a stupid goal, ridiculous. But as you said, I would have took a point before the game, but I was disappointed not to win after the game. So it just proves that we did actually play not too bad. So yeah, well, happy with a point overall.
Absolutely, and it just goes to back the usual. Most results apart from a few recent results, it's always been draws with Reading, so it's back to the status quo in some regard. Something a little bit different now. A member of our youth setup was in the news late last year after receiving the Young Inspiration Award at the Sportswoman of the Year Award. The person in question is Layla Banaras, a 15-year-old footballer who has become a role model for other Muslim girls, having raised awareness to the difficulties of having to face as athletes during Ramadan. She certainly doesn't lack confidence, though, with her dream to be the first Muslim player to play for the Lionesses in the future. Layla saw the lack of resources for Muslim athletes during the fasting period and decided to do something about it. She's made a nutritional guide, a meal planner to help remove barriers for other Muslim athletes to continue to play sport while fasting during Ramadan. Layla has featured on Sky Sports as a result of her efforts recently. I don't know about you, Kaz, but I'm always considered Ramadan a feat in itself to do the whole fasting thing from sun up to sundown. But having to combat that with playing football, it must be so intense.
Oh, definitely. I think you've seen in a few Premier League games, haven't you, where they have actually broken, like, stopped games so players can break the fasting, because it must have some sort of toll on the bodies and stuff. Like, why not? Like, I know Ramadan's the same time every year, isn't it?
I think roughly the same. I think I'm not too sure.
So
I think it's a bit like Easter. It moves slightly, but
right.
it's
So
always
here we
about-
go. So I help these, like, footballers out. Cancel the month of football and put them in where you can, because surely players' health and religion is more important than probably passing out on the football pitch.
So, right. I think we should leave religion out of this, right? Because
I wasn't
technically,
talking about religion. I'm just saying.
technically, they, as a professional athlete, if fasting is going to harm your body, the Quran says that you don't have to fast. So technically, footballers would be able to break their fast if they wished, under what the Quran says. So, in one respect, I understand most Muslims do want to honour the fast and don't want to break it unless it's absolutely necessary. But we know from previous years with players playing in the Champions League, some players have chose to fast and others have chose not to fast when they are playing football, and have then donated greater to charity because they've had to break their fast. So, yeah, that's my 2
What
pence.
Stacey said.
It's all right. I'm learning stuff that I didn't know, Stacey. So it's nice to know. I didn't think we'd go that in depth tonight, but I appreciate it.
More like a bit of a laugh. My mum always used to say to me, if all else failed, I could be a nun, because RE was like the only subject that I got an A star in. So
I think I got an RE to thinking about it back in the day, but yeah, it's one of those where it's quite easy to learn.
Read a lot as well. I've actually read the Quran, so.
More than most of we have, Stacey.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Another question for you then, Stacey. She's still such a very young player, Stacey, and this is the kind of player you want to see succeed and hopefully make the first team one day for the Blues.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like as we're saying, if to be able to fast, she must be dedicated to go through. Like, I actually seen the thing that the Blues put up about her, and it was inspiring, like, it, for such a young girl at such a young age to be promoting visibility for her ethnic group as well within football. Like it's been spoken about recently with the lack of diversity in the WSL. So to have someone so young who's pioneering for Muslims to get into other sports, like to break that stigma of that they can't be an athlete and be a Muslim. So, yeah, fair play to her.
Absolutely, and she's obviously been inspired by Nadia Nadim, obviously, was one of the ones who's got to such a level that she's managed to inspire the next generation, which hopefully Layla herself can do in the future for us. As we close out the show this week, I thought we would take inspiration from Layla and show our appreciation to the fans at the club who perhaps don't get the credit they deserve from the wider fan base. I shall start by saying when I first started coming to the games, there was a nice lady near the entrance who started selling badges. That person was Debbie Fletcher, who is a dedicated Birmingham City fan of both the men's and women's teams, and has even written some books about the men's club in the past. No one at the club told her to make these badges, but she felt strongly enough to do it to get them commissioned. She's done match-specific ones in the past, as well as home and away kit ones, as well as the club badge one too, which I have, which I'll put up to the camera now. I don't know if it'll be able to show it. There you go. This is it might be a collector's item soon, because this is still when it was Birmingham City Ladies. So it's one I cherish quite a lot, and I'm really a big fan of history, as Stacey is of RE, of learning about religions, as we've found out. But yeah, I'm real big fan of learning about history of football clubs and stuff. So for me, this shows that where we've come from, over 50 years of history and a badge. So I appreciate to Debbie for getting the idea of bringing badges and selling them at games. So from me and the podcast, thank you to Debbie for everything you do for the club. I asked Kaz and Stacey to think of someone for this section too. So why don't we go to Stacey first? I did a while back. It's been a while.
I was just about to say the same, did you? What was the question again?
Somewhat, anyone out of the fan base that you think is kind of unsung, someone who does a lot for the club but doesn't get the credit. Don't say me, because I know Kaz appreciates what I did the other day. So I appreciate that, but someone who's not on the podcast would be the best for now.
It's an hard one, isn't it? Because let's be honest, this season, not a lot of us have done a lot.
Just doesn't have to be this season.
Apart from you.
And I just sort of do feel like it's been that long. I forgot what some of the fans look like, and we all know my memory's not great in the first place. And yeah, it's as you say, like there's yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be this season, Stacey. It's anyone who's in, like you.
Do you know what?
That they've done so much for the club over the years.
I'm gonna go with Lindsay and Sharon.
Okay.
Because obviously, if anybody at the Blues who knows them, they go literally home and away. They even went to Russia. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they follow the team up and down the country and wherever they play, basically. So, yeah, I would probably say them as well, because obviously they're not on social media either. So, like, these players now that won't even know Lindsay and Sharon exist. So, yeah, I'd probably say them too, because they do support the team, and they've probably been supporting the team a lot longer than me, you, or Stacey. So, yeah, I'm going to say them too.
Very good choice. I know of them obviously from just being around, and obviously, yeah, as you say, very big fans and have been for a very long time. You thought anyone, Stacey, or? Yeah,
I'm going to say Dave. Again, going down the same route as Kaz. He's not got social media. Dave's been at Birmingham City Ladies for as long as I can remember. Obviously, Dave lost his wife a few years back now, and he basically has said like that going down and watching the women was such a big help for him when he was grieving the loss of his wife, and he felt like he had a family with obviously all the other supporters who he'd known over the years, and the way that the players treated him and stuff, and he was. Dave's. I miss having a pint with Dave. I'm not gonna lie.
I miss having a pint with a few people.
Yeah, but yeah, Dave's. I think Dave will hold a special place in a lot of Blues fans and ex-players and staff for a long time. I think he's it's as Kaz said, it's a shame that some of these players have not met some of some great fans. Like so, yeah.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll be able to show Dave and Sharon and Lindsay this video next season at the games when we're back, hopefully in the stadium, St Andrews, as they've told us. So we've got a team, we've got a team. That's all. Well, hopefully we've got a team.
We've got about 13 of them on contract, ain't we?
We'll be looking back at this video for the wrong reasons if that happens. But we'll try and end this on a positive note. Thank you to both of you for your picks in this Unsung Heroes of the Terraces segment. If any of our listeners have someone they think we should give a shout out to also, then get in touch with us on social media and we'll look to bring this segment back in the future. There will be no show next week as a stand in solidarity with the football women's... I'll start that bit again. Sorry, it's live for everyone else. There will be no show next week as stand in solidarity with the football community in the battle against racism. As many of you may be aware, there will be a social media blackout across football next weekend, and we'll be supporting that. We will return hopefully on May 10th as we recap our final 2 league matches of the season and look ahead to the FA Cup match with Southampton. And that's all for this week's show. Thanks to Kaz and Stacey for joining me. You've been listening to the Brum is Blue podcast. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Facebook at Brum is Blue. And as always, remember to keep right on.